Right fellas, so I've came to Engine Services in Gateshead to see Gordon, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some machining on the engine block. There's a small mark on the bore, which is just there, so we need to get rid of that, or else pass oil, Gordon, would
pass oil, and also you'll lose a little bit of compression past that, and eventually it could start to burn a ring out, or a mark's never going to get better, it's just going to get worse.
get worse.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing we're going to do, Gordon?
First thing we're going to do, we're going to clean the bottom faces off, so we can set it up on the boring machine to grind it.
Right.
To bore it, sorry. So all we'll do, just flip it over, we'll just need them corners nice and clean.
These corners here?
Yeah, just the 4 corners of the block. So all we'll use, just use a square file with a bit of emery cloth on it.
Is that just so it sits nice and flat on the block?
Just so everything's sitting nice and flat. Because you always get a build up of rust, particularly on the corners.
Well, it is Ford, you know, so a bit of rust isn't surprising, is it?
You can just see the dust and the rust coming off there. You can see where it's pitted there. So all that would do, if it's sitting on a machine with a bit of rust there, it's just going to make it a little bit uneven. That's all we need.
That's all we need? So now onto the machine.
Yeah, so these blocks are around 18 inches, I believe. Yeah, 18 inches. So the machine's already set up somewhere around about that anyway. Yeah, so the machine's already pretty much set up for a Cosworth block anyway.
Right.
You always set them just into the groove.
Right.
Right.
So there's a block on the machine.
Sitting on the machine there now, just on the edge of them hollows in the middle.
What's this machine called then?
It's a boring bar.
Right. It's not a milling machine, is it?
No, it's actually a boring bar, which I think we talked about last time, just a little cutting tool in there.
So you're literally going to take a cut out the bore.
Yeah.
Then we're going to hone it, is that right?
Then we're going to hone it to size.
And how much do you leave in for honing?
I normally leave at least about 1.5 thou in.
1.5 thou for honing?
1.5 thou for honing. So these clamps here just come round, pull them down, and that's that block now bolted down solid to there. So we'll just pull the tool out.
Is this a cutting edge you're taking out, or you?
That's actual tool holder and the tool in there. So to set the machine up, it just floats on air.
All right.
So we'll just fetch it down into the bore.
What are you doing, lining it up in the bore?
Yeah. That's about the height we want. So to set it up, all you've got is, I don't know if you can see them coming out there.
Oh, the little legs.
You've got 4 little legs comes out.
Oh, so that's just going to line the head up.
So that's just centralise the machine there, airlock it, wind them back in. So that's now set up ready to go.
That was easy, man, wasn't
Dead
it?
easy. Dead easy. Right, so that's the machine set. So now we just need to sort the cutting tool.
So that there, is that perfectly in line with that bore, isn't it?
That machine there, that bar is perfectly central to that bore.
Yes, yes. Meant.
So easy, so easy. Right, so as I think we mentioned the last time, I still work in imperial, not metric.
Right,
So
imperial is feet and inches for everyone,
yeah,
and thous.
Thousandths of an inch. So them pistons are...
They're metric, the pistons.
They're metric, yeah. So 91.825. Now I can tell you what that converts to, but the easy way of doing it, I'll just get a calculator and I'll show you the easy way of converting it.
What we're doing here, Gordon, converting?
I'm going to convert the metric size, which is 91.825, into
imperial feet and inches
size, yeah. So the way I do it is I go 91.825,
which is the size of the piston.
Which is the size of the piston, times 0.03937 equals 3.61515.
So 3.615
is what we're looking at.
So it's just over 3.5 inches, isn't it? To keep it simple for
to
people.
keep it simple, yeah.
Keep it simple for people.
It's 115 thou over 3.5 inches.
Yes.
Right, so we don't need to take that out, but we'll take it out and measure it just
Just in case.
just in case, because I have
I
known...
think it is actually stamped on the piston as well, the size.
It should be, but I have known it, not on mall pistons, but on some cheaper brands where they're actually stamped wrong and you might have a 0.5
Really?
piston stamped, yeah. It does happen, not very often, but it does happen.
Right, everyone makes mistakes, doesn't they?
Certainly do.
If you haven't made a mistake, you haven't made anything. That's what my gaffer says at
That's
work.
exactly it, aye. If you've never made a mistake, you've never done anything.
So you're just checking it there with your micrometer.
Yeah, so I've got 3.613. That's going to give about 2 thou clearance.
Something I was interested with, Gordon, you see that? That's where it's stamped on.
Yeah, well that's your piston size. 91.775 is your piston size.
Then the piston rings take up the last.
No, your clearance takes up the rest.
Right?
So at the end of that, it would have had the SPO, which is the clearance, but it's right where they've machined it, so they've machined it out.
Right. These are for valve cutouts as well.
Yeah.
These aren't generally on a standard Cosworth piston, but it's kind of like an upgraded thing, isn't it? Something what people
It's
do.
what people do now, because Cosworths, especially if it's had a head skim or two,
I was going to say
they
the head
always,
skim.
they always tip the valves.
Tell you what, that calculator's saying some graft mind,
Yes,
hasn't it?
aye. I wouldn't mind the money that's been punched into that over the years. Right, so this tip is probably already set because I've just done a Cosworth block anyway.
Right.
So, I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but that is the scale, that's sort of 3 inches, so up to 3.6. Just under 3.615.
Oh, right, so are you setting the...
I'm setting that
the
to the
bore
bore size I
size.
want to cut, yeah. So I'm happy that's set to where we need to be, knocking 1.5 thou, 2 thou off for honing.
Have you got different ones of them for different size bores?
Yeah, well that's, basically that just slides in and out. So you just adjust
Oh,
it, you,
right,
you loosen that screw and that's just sprung loaded. So that just
Oh,
slides
right.
in and out to adjust it.
Right, that makes sense.
Right, so we'll just pop that in there, nip it up, come down to the bore. I've already set the stop. Yeah, enough for it to stop. We'll just move that down a touch.
Is this a stop for the top of the block?
That's a stop for the top of the block. So now, when we'll come to the next bore, I can just come down without fear of hitting the
Top of
block
the block.
with a tool, yeah. Right, so that's we're set up, ready to go. So it's just a case now, we're into gear, set it away.
Is it put in dry, is it?
Yeah, just cuts dry.
So do you set a feed rate on this?
It's got 2 feed rates and it's got 2 rotation speeds.
Right.
I tend to bore everything on the slow rotation, which I think is 180.
That's revs per minute, RPM.
Yeah. And I have it on the fast feed going through.
Right.
And that's like a happy sort of medium.
That's what you found works best.
Yeah.
So how much are we taking out there, Gordon? Roughly about?
We're taking 1/2 mil out, so but you've got to remember 1/2 mil is only 0.25 of a mil each side.
Per side.
So it's about 10 thou per side we're taking out.
Right. And this is about the maximum you can take out of a Cosworth block, isn't it?
Yeah, you can buy, I believe, wasn't it, there was slightly bigger piston.
Bigger than 1 milli
Yeah,
oversized.
yeah.
Is it like 1 1/4 or something, is it? Or
Without looking at the catalogue, I can't remember, but I'm
Right.
sure they do a 91 point. Their sizes go up funny.
right?
If I can find a catalogue, I will show you, but they don't.
They
For
do it
example,
different, like
yeah,
mall
they
and
do
that.
it slightly different. Their first oversize is slightly different to a standard
Right.
mall piston. So I believe they might do a 92 mil piston,
All right.
which is slightly bigger than this. So I think theirs goes up sort of 90 mil, 91 mil, 91.5, 92. I think that's the way theirs go.
So that's going to go all the way through and come out the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll not see it come out the bottom, but
No.
you'll hear the cut stop.
Yes.
So once that goes through and we hear the cut stop, we'll just set with stop. So on the next boat, it'll go through, hit the stop, and it'll come back up, all automatic.
This looks like a sturdy old machine, this mine. Like if you buy a modern one, it will be like...
Yeah.
They're not older machines seem a lot more better built and sturdy, don't they, than the new stuff?
There's a lot of stuff out there now, there's a lot of Chinese stuff out there, and it's not that good, to be fair.
Is this German or something?
It's Italian.
Italian, is it?
Italian. The Burgos, we've got that. We've got 2 head faces, both Burgos, and there've never been any real problems. I think now this is probably about 30-year-old. I remember when we got it brand new, but it's probably about 30-year-old now.
So once it's come out, do you measure the bore or just?
Yeah. Always check after your first bore, just in case you need any adjustments. That's going through there now, so that's through the bore.
Right.
So we'll just stop it there. We'll just fetch our stop down. Now that's hit the stop.
That it coming out, is it?
That's it coming back up.
Is it spinning as it comes out?
No, it just stops at the front and comes back up. So now it's really as quick as that.
I touch that bore, Gordon, see what
Yeah.
That's quite smooth.
So that there now is ready to go on the next bore.
This is cast iron as well,
It's
isn't
cast
it?
iron, yeah.
It's quite
So
nice.
that's not a bad finish for cast iron.
I was going, it's not a bad material to cut, to be honest.
If we had a liner in there and we're boring a liner, it will be really finer again. Because a liner is always a nice fine cast iron, whereas a block quite a coarse cast iron. So we'll just measure that bore, make sure we're happy with the size, and then we'll go through the rest of them.
So you're hoping to in theory we should have about
In
a
theory,
thou
we
and a
should have
half.
about 1,500 half.
And for anyone wondering, a human hair is about 4 thou, so we're leaving about a quarter of a width of a human hair.
You normally see a bit of paper is about 4 thou.
A bit of paper is about 4 thou.
Right. I don't trust these slip gauges, so I always use one of them to measure.
Then mic it.
And
I
make
do
it.
exactly the same
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
I work in engineering, so I do exactly the same with these stick mics.
We are bang on 3.6, 13 and a half. So that's give we exactly 1,500 half to run out.
Right, and our finished size we want is
615.
3.615.
Yeah.
And we are 3.6135.
3.6, 13, yeah.
Yes.
135. Right.
So we've got 1,500 in exactly.
1,500 half to come out. But to be fair, on Cosworths, I normally give them an extra half thou clearance anyway.
Do you?
Yeah. I
Right.
would always. You find on most performance stuff, an extra half thou is quite acceptable. A lot of the racing lads will come in, people who's rallying stuff and racing stuff, and a lot of them want an extra thou.
Do they really?
Yeah. It just means they're not as tight and a little bit more.
Slack.
Yeah, they're a bit slack, they don't take as much bedding in. A little bit more clearance sometimes makes them rev a little bit better as well.
There's a lot of talk when an engine's being rebuilt. There's a lot of talk about whether you should run it in, do 1,000 miles, nice and slow or whatever, and change your, or do you just go straight out and hammer it?
I would say go out and be sensible in it.
Right. Maybe do a little bit of boosting.
Don't nurse it too much. Go out and just drive it like you're driving your normal everyday car.
Right.
Don't go kicking its head in.
So if you're pulling onto a motorway, maybe put your foot halfway down.
Yeah. Don't hold it on for long boost. I normally turn your boost down, so you're not boosting a lot anyway. And one of the most important things is, which people don't seem to take in, don't use a good oil. Put a running in oil in or put a mineral oil in for at least your first 500 miles.
Just to actually wear the engine.
Just let the rings bed into the bores and let some carbon build up on the top of the pistons and behind your rings. You need a carbon build up behind your rings to keep the rings out.
Right.
So a mineral oil or a running in oil for the first 500 miles or so.
Miller's Oil do actually do a special running in oil. I've got some in the house, but they do actually do a special running in oil for obviously running in an engine.
You'd be surprised how many people build engines and they put the best synthetic oil they can buy straight in, and they'll use oil forevermore.
But to be honest, if I didn't know, I would do it. I'd be like, if I rebuild my engine, I want the best of the oil I can get. But it does make sense when people explain it.
Modern oils are just so good, they'll not give the thing a chance to bed in.
What's the biggest size cut you can take on this thing, Gordon?
You can take,
Take a milli, could you?
you can take a mil.
Could you?
I take a mil, but I never do.
See you later, mate.
Yeah, you can take a mil out. If you're roughing out for liners, you can rough out quite big cuts. But the way I've always looked at it is, what's the point of stressing the machine?
Alright.
For the sake of just take 3 30 cal cuts instead of 2 40 cal cuts.
See the finish compared to what it was where it's been honed. See the horn marks, and you can see obviously just the cast iron finish where it's been bored. How much do you charge for this thing, Gordon? If someone bought the block to you and they wanted
A standard 4-cylinder Rebore like that is 120 quid plus the VAT.
that's not bad. Honed as well.
Yeah,
That's not bad, that mind.
That's this month. There is a price increase coming, but at the minute that's the current price is 120 quid plus the VAT.
So if you want in, get in quick before the prices go up. So that's it through there.
Yeah, we're through there. It should hit the stop in a sec. That's it.
There we go. Then does it come back up itself? Oh,
Comes
there we
back
go.
up, yeah. The beauty with this machine is you can set it away, and once you've done one bore, you just set it away and walk away and do something else. And then it's up. Just take the airlock off, pull it along.
Oh, so you're not even taking the cut out to line it up,
No,
are
no,
you?
no.
There's little feet out to line it up.
Airlock off. And away you go.
Ah, that was easy, that mind.
Seconds.
Is there a reason why you don't use like a cutting oil when you...
Just the machine's not designed for a cutting oil. You
Right.
started putting a cutting oil through there, it would just like,
Guns all hour?
yeah. There's nowhere for it to run to. It's not as if it's got like a reservoir on the bottom that could recirculate it or.
Makes sense. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, there's no hard.
Yeah.
So obviously you mustn't need it, obviously.
No. Cast iron's kind of
Self-lubricating like
lubricating
brass.
anyway. Brass is, but cast iron is to a certain degree. But you know, if you stick your hand under there, and I've got gloves on, but the cuttings aren't hot when they're coming out,
No.
they're just cool, you know.
You're not taking big cuts anyway,
And
really, are you?
that's kind of what
What comes out?
That's what comes out.
It's got the size of grains of sugar, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it takes about 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes to go through each bore.
Do one pass.
I'm pretty sure that's what it takes, around about that. Obviously depends on the length of the bore, but average bore about 6 or 7 minutes.
About 6 inches deep under the boards, would you say?
Yeah.
No, it's about 6 inches, that, isn't it?
Depends if you ask a woman or not.
Sounds like it's starting to get towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not too far away. Don't know if that's shedding any light on it.
See that. There we go. It's through there, isn't it?
Yeah, same again. I'll just hit the stop. And this time what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move that stop right down so the machine will come all the way up.
Right, so it comes clear of the block.
Yeah. So before I adjusted that, the machine would be stopping about there, whereas now it's just
Off and away.
off and away, yeah. Right, so that's the boring part of it done. So now, that's nice.
It's quite smooth, to be honest.
Yeah, for a rough cut through, it's quite smooth. Now we'll just go back over to the stand behind what there. So now what we're going to do is, if you just run your finger on the top of there, you'll feel it's sort of quite square and sharp.
Yep, that sharp edge.
So you would never get your piston rings in there.
Right.
You would use your ring compressor, but as the ring comes to that sharp edge, you've got a good chance of breaking or damaging the ring.
Right.
So you use that, which is just a
Deburring tool.
deburring tool. That's exactly all. You just come round.
So you're putting a small chamfer, like a radius type
Small
thing on there.
chamfer on there, just
Yep,
to ease
feel
getting
that.
your rings in.
You feel that?
Right. see there now, we've just got a nice chamfer. That just helps you when you're putting it together to get your rings in. Right, so I'm just going to stick the knife through them all to make sure they're all the same, which they should be.
Should be.
Yep, they're all the same. 613.5. Yep.
Yep. Spot on.
Right.
So now we've got 1.5 in the
to come out
bores,
there, which we're going to hone out.
which is less than half of a sheet of paper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the thickness of a bit of paper.
And if you think about you're dividing that between each side of the bore as well.
Yes, so aye.
So we're going to hone it on the power
honer.
hone. We can hand hone, but you can get a much more consistent crosshatch on the power
On the
hone.
machine.
Yeah, so we'll do it on there. So it's pretty much the same as a boring bar, just sitting on them two trestles.
Yep. Now looking at this machine, I'm going to assume this is going to squirt some oil out.
Does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unlike that ball machine, is this going to be like a floating horn? So the tool will like kind of find
Yes.
its own
Yeah.
position in the bore?
You kind of centralise it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be set up perfect. So we're just clamping the block down, pretty much the same as we did on the boring bar. Right, so we're locked down there now. That block's locked down solid. Right, so that's your honing head
Right.
with your stones. So you've got two stones, two guides. The honing head goes in there.
And as you can see, that's
That-
just kind of swinging about, sort of.
Yeah, that goes backwards and forwards. The whole bed of the machine slides. So what you need is, you need the stones to come out the bottom of the bore by about 3/4 of an inch.
Right.
Just so as they're right through the bore. If you're setting to come through the bore too far, the stones will catch the main bearing housings at the bottom of the bore.
Right.
So
So is that what you were doing there with your hand?
Yeah, I was just feeling it to make sure we're about right, we weren't far away. Same on the top, you want the stones to come out about that, about an inch or so. Right, so now we'll just sort of centralise it, so lock that, so we're okay there. I can see it wants to come that way a bit. So we're about centralised there.
So you just
but
look at
remember,
that shaft.
this is all floating anyway, so it doesn't have to be 100%.
This is splash guard.
It's splash guard, yeah, because it does
Pick the oil about.
splash a bit of oil around. Right, so what we've got is, you've got, I'll take the honing head out, so I can just sort of demonstrate. So that's what we're going to be working in. So you've got your down speed,
Right.
you've got your rotation speed, so you can go from basically just turning, which is 32 RPM, right up to 315 RPM.
So that's your RPM, this one.
Yeah,
Is that your
top on
meters
the
a minute or
RPM.
something?
Yeah.
Meters a minute.
You've got a scale up here, so it tells you what speed and what rotation
Right.
you should be going at, or what degrees you want on your bore.
Right. Like your crosshatch.
What crosshatch, yeah. Right, so just set it away. So we're going up and down there, but we haven't got a cut on there yet.
Right.
That's not cutting. You hold that. That puts your cut on there.
What are you doing holding that diameter?
Yeah.
That disc?
So, on plenty of oil going through it. So even there, that's not actually doing anything there. It's going
That's
up and
still
down.
not cutting?
It's not cutting. It's not clear.
Ah, right.
It all works on hydraulic pressure, so you can see your pressure coming down, so you know there's not much of a cut on there anyway. But we'll just, so you hold the bottom one which knocks the cut off.
Right.
So
This machine looks like a good way to lose a finger, mine.
I've still got all mine.
Still got 10.
So you can see there now, that's just a nice crosshatch. So now we'll just measure that, see how much we've took out, see how much more we need to take out.
And what's the kind of tolerance you work to on the bore? Like,
Right,
what were you aiming for? 3.615.
Yeah, plus half a thou.
Plus half a
Plus
thou.
half a thou.
Minus nothing.
Minus no. Never minus
Right,
anything.
it's a small tolerance to try
Yeah,
and hit, isn't it?
never minus anything. So we're just under 3.165 there.
Right.
Like a midges under.
So that came out pretty quick there, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. It comes out really quick with this power horn.
So that's not cutting there, is
That's
it?
not cutting there. Not until I get. You can actually hear it more and you can see it.
And then the more you hold that, the more that pressure's going to go up on the
pressure
gauge.
goes up, yeah. So that's just a very light cut on there. We're not removing much at all.
How do you know it's a light cut? Because of your gauge here, because of your pressure gauge.
And because of the sound.
Right.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go through them all at what I think, and then we'll go along them with the mic again
Check
and
them at the
measure
end.
them and take, if I think one needs a little bit more, we'll give a little bit more.
So what kind of cutting fluid are we using, Gordon? Because it's not like a white water, is
No,
it?
it's a proper horn and oil.
It's a proper horn and oil,
Proper
is it?
horn and oil. Which I believe is, it's pretty much just a mix of, I think it's just a mix of diesel and oil, engine
Right.
oil. I think that's all it is, but it is a proper,
All right, so you buy like in like
yeah,
horn
it
and oil.
is, it is a proper horn and oil.
How much is a drum of that then? 25 litres?
There again, that's gone up a fortune. I think it's about 90 quid.
90 quid, is it?
Yeah, that's the little things people don't realise. They think,
Uh-huh.
well, it's just a couple of hours on there doing that, and it's a price of the materials. It's, well, everything's just.
It's the price of everything. You've got
Yeah.
your lights on, you've got your electrics, you've got. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine everything in here is all 3 phase as well, so
Uh-huh.
it all uses a bit of electric.
Bit of juice.
Quite a bit of juice. Right, so we've phoned them all quickly.
Right.
So we'll just go along them, see where we're at. This one I'm thinking should be pretty near size.
That's the first one we've done, isn't it?
Yeah, now measuring that, it doesn't feel as if I took any more out that second time. Right, so I didn't take any more out of that in that second horn.
So there's still about quarter of a thou in that first one.
Yeah. And the rest of them are all a touch bigger.
You must have done this that many times, you can kind of gauge how long you need to take.
Yeah, I've been doing it
Aye.
for 41 years now. I've worked here.
You've worked in this
Worked in this building for 41 years.
41 year.
41 years.
Is that from leaving school and pretty much?
15. Right.
Building engines at 15-year-old.
I built my first one when I was 17. When I come in, the first job I started doing was rebores.
Was it really?
So I did, my main job in here was doing rebores all day, every day,
Really?
for probably 15 years.
God. So you've mastered that
So,
art.
so I've built a few.
You've done your
I've done
10,000 hours.
I've done a few rebores and I've built a few engines.
What was the first engine you rebuilt then?
1300 crossflow.
Was it?
The
Oh, like
first
an Escort or something?
Mark II Escort that I had at the time. It was my own, the first one.
Was
I built
it?
was my own. First block I ever bought was a 1256 Viva.
Aye.
I still remember.
And did the engine last the rest of your time with it? For your first engine? Like your first engine, did it last? Or
To be honest, not failed.
did it?
Did I?
Learn from your mistakes, don't you?
Schoolboy error. I put
Yeah.
a thrust washer in the wrong way around
Oh, right, aye.
and knocked the shaft out after about 500 mile.
Uh-huh.
But I've never made that mistake
No,
again.
hey. Like we said
Never.
earlier, if you've never made a mistake, you haven't made anything.
If I make a mistake, I put my hands up to it and
I
say
do,
I've
aye.
made a mistake. Right, so them three,
Yes?
I know we're covered in oil now,
That's alright.
are 3.615 and a half. So that's exactly where I want to be with them.
Right.
Half a thou over. This one still wants another half a thou out.
Right. So that'll take probably 15 seconds or something to get half an hour out?
Yeah, it'll not take a lot. Depends how much feed I put on, but it'll not take a lot.
So Gordon's holding that to get the cut on, aren't you?
Yeah, that's
holding the top one to get the cut on,
yeah.
the bottom one to get it off. I think you think that's half a thou?
I think that should be about half a thou. Might not be, might want to touch more, but if you don't take enough, you can always take a bit more.
Can I put material back in, can you?
Not easily. But still wants a touch. We're still just on 15.
Right. Bang on that mine, isn't it? Absolutely bang on that mine, Gordon.
So now what I always do is always check the bottom of the bore as well.
For tapers?
Yeah. So I've checked that bore top and bottom that way. I've checked the bore in the middle that way, and we're all round, no taper. So that there is now good to go. We'll lift it off back onto there so you can have a closer look at the finish on the bores.
Right, so there's the block done.
I'll get a clean bit of rag and we'll just give them a wipe out.
Now that is meant to feel a bit rough, isn't it? Not rough, but like...
If a bore's too smooth, the ring will not bed itself in.
Right.
So basically the ring's got to grind its way.
Find its grooves.
Yes. It's got to sort of...
Like a brake disc kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got the two surfaces, the surface of the bore and the surface of the ring have got to sort of grind against each other, for want of a better word, to bed themselves in.
Mint, mate. Spot on. Is that it done then?
That's it done, yeah.
Do you give it a clean or?
Yeah, we can give it a clean. I can only wash it by hand.
Right.
Normally, which is why I told you not to paint it, I would normally put that through the hot wash.
Would the paint come off in the hot wash?
It'll wash the paint off.
Would it?
Depends what sort of job you're made of. If you keyed it well, it might not, but it probably would wash the paint off.
Right, that's it, fellas. That is the block done. We yet again, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. No
and
problem.
I'll see you again soon.